Hello everyone, this is Chaff Commander Coffee, back with another episode of Civilization 4 Realism Invictus. So, continuing on with our Persia game, we are starting to build our empire up, and actually settle our own cities for a change, rather than capture someone else's. We've got a lot of economic work to do, and I'm really trying to actually build the cities that we do own, their population up. But happiness is obviously a bit of a concern in that regard. There are a couple of ways we can solve this. For a start, we've got incense in our borders now, so if we were to adopt a religion and spread it around, we'd definitely get some happiness bonuses from that. Otherwise, we have access to spices, which I think we need to build markets to make use of. Dyes, could build some theatres, various different things, but I think for the moment we need to get those extra cities on the field in the spots that, well, have been designated for a while now. Hooking up that iron would be great for our military strength, and just in general, maybe getting a wonder. I'm not really sure which one I would want. Ishtar Gate would be quite nice, but not necessary. Anyway, let's get started. Speaking of getting started, the English have made peace with the Transoxianans, and the Mongolians have started a war with the Vikings again. Expect that to happen probably for the rest of the game, until one of them's destroyed. I get the impression the two of them are just going to keep throwing punches until one of them gives up. It's the pretty accurate representation of those nations, being quite warlike in civilization. Now I want to bring these workers up to start building up that city there. Well. The English want 100 gold from us. Well, if you insist, I'm afraid we're going to have to accede to those demands for now. I would definitely want to avoid a war with the English. We're not really in a good spot whilst we're expanding to start trying to fight off. It's no longer the worst enemy of Timur. I wonder who the Transoxianans are annoyed with now. Anyway, we've got another slave revolt. Let's get our skirmishers to go deal with that. As you can see, the skirmishers have a pretty high chance of beating the slaves. Which is very helpful for us. And let's start replacing these cottages with these commercial plantations. And Shaka would like us to convert to Hinduism. Now this would make the Mongolians like us, and it looks like he's actually sending missionaries into our lands. So yeah, I'm going to convert to Hinduism. I was thinking about converting to a religion. If he's going to send missionaries to me anyway, well, there's no reason to say no. So we'll convert, and we should work on getting some religious technologies to support that. We've got priesthood, but it would be great to get another as well. For example, getting meditation. Utika's now grown up to size 5. And Carthage has now actually become happy again. But we'll get those walls built and then a temple after that. Cattle and incenses. So we no longer get health from cattle, but we do get happiness with the Hindu temples. And also health from spices. So that's actually a really good building for us. I think we'll definitely get a Hindu temple. And after mathematics, I would love to get meditation so we can start making use of monasteries. And getting some missionaries to spread that around. Persepolis after the forge, I think we'll get a Hindu temple over here and then build another settler or two. And this should help increase our economy just by allowing us to get a higher population working on those cottages that we've built. everything seems to be quite pleasant, right now. Try to keep the wars to a minimum if possible, and hopefully we might be able to open up borders with the Mongolians in time, which would be nice. And Hinduism has spread to Persia, which is great. And we got some more slaves revolting in our lands. Let's go get rid of those nice and swiftly. And we got another commercial plantation up. Let's road up there and then get another one there. Let's get this salt online. And yeah, our economy seems to be on the upward trend, which is perfect, because we can get some more cities down and obviously get some more tiles being worked. These guys can probably, they can go back on this hill and just sentry there for any potential invasions. I think those guys can stay on the border. And there's a slave revolt over here in Persepolis, which we can deal with our Sparabara. No trouble at all. And we've got a mounted savage over here. Which is a little more concerning. In fact, I'll probably bring... I think I'll chop this wood out so that we can farm this cotton at a later date, but at least gives the workers something to do in the meantime. Oh, and they captured my... Wow, I didn't realise they could move there, but I guess because of the roads that they could. That's pretty bad. That's 3 workers we just lost. Yeah, that's not ideal. Oops. Oops. It's mistakes like that I could really avoid doing, especially on Emperor difficulty. That's probably something I should pay attention to a bit more. Right, we're probably going to need some more workers. Let's see. Well, Carthage has got really good growth, actually, with all those farms, so I'll tell you what, after building that wall, we'll just set it to build, like, 3 or 4 more workers. And, yeah, as you can see, they can pop workers out in 6 turns, which is pretty solid. So we'll try and get some more workers available in our kingdom. And the English declared war on the Transoxianans again. Not a big surprise there. Right, let's keep working. And over here in Utica, what would we like? A library wouldn't be terrible. I would really like to get some courthouses to drop our maintenance. The city can't grow currently. Let's get another skirmisher, because I need that to go sit in Carthage. Let's see, can we start working on production for a little bit? In fact, keep working on commerce for now, actually, because they'll still build that in quite a reasonable time if they're focused on commerce. I'd like Carthage to be focused on food, and I'd probably build my my settlers in Carthage whilst Persepolis focuses on growing and actually keeping its production up. Apparently they don't want to work any more mines, they just want to work on a lot of commerce. Yeah, that's fine, I suppose. Over here we'll swap back over to production. Get that forge built. Okay. And the Vikings want some gold. Well, go on then, you can have some gold. Please stay away from me. I would prefer not to have a war. For as long as I can possibly avoid it. And there's not much else we can do down in this city in the south, so I think I'm going to build a settler here as well. And now it looks like we've got another event. So, famine has struck the city of Turfan. Our people in Utica have enough food on hand to assist their Mongolian neighbours. We're going to send all the food that we can. Because Utica can't grow anyway, its happiness won't really allow it. And that will make the Mongolians love us, and we can open borders with them. And we might be able to get some gold from them as well. Sweet. And how about the Unguni? Are you willing to... would you trade deer for corn? Nice, seems good. Right, would you give us some gold? Cool. And the Transoxianans. Would you like to give us some gold, please? Thank you very much. And I'm going to increase my espionage to 10 points. 10%. I'm going to leave that at 10% for the rest of the game, probably. I do like to have espionage. City visibility is particularly what I'm interested in. Getting city visibility is pretty nice. Being able to see what all the other nations are building, and, you know, just actually being able to see their borders, knowing how their wars are going. It's all very valuable information. So I prefer espionage and sort of use espionage as a more passive tool as opposed to an active tool for spies. That's just my preference. And I know a lot of people probably not so interested in using espionage in Civ games, especially on higher difficulties, but I still think it's worthwhile, so I shall be using it for the foreseeable future. I'm probably going to have these two workers join up with that guy there, and build another pair of workers or so to just move on. I could get another farm up in Utica. Utica is going to be a very prosperous land once we get enough population available there to work all those floodplain towns and such we now have. So we've just researched monasticism. So let's see, would we want to change our... Now we could change to traditional custom, but I do quite like rule of fear. The military unit production is just brilliant. But I think I would like to swap, possibly over to monasticism. Wouldn't need to get any monasteries, and that would help quite a lot. And it'll also make our cottages a more useful tile to work. So it will encourage our cities to grow them if they've got less, like whilst we're building new cities, the cottages will actually be valuable tiles for us. Right, what do we want next? And we can get up to 30% tech diffusion now. Caste system, not too interested by right now. Code of laws, courthouses, that would be wonderful. Utica is now angry because swap it over to food and just stop its growth. That way, I don't want it to lose a population point. That will take a long time to get that back. Let's build in Carthage. Carthage would take a while. I think you actually unlock Hindu missionaries from Code of Laws. Yes, you do. So we definitely need Code of Laws. For sure. A Hindu temple would be amazing in Carthage. We could make that city pretty damn large, which would be perfect. I wouldn't mind getting another worker up in the north here for some cities that we build in future. Or in the future, rather. Down here, would a well be worth it? They do... Oh, wow, 10%. From terrain features, from all the mines and such. Are actually getting quite a high epidemic chance in Utica, which I would like to avoid if possible. So let's get a well to at least mitigate some of that negative there, and then, well, I mean, the forge will just give us the epidemic chance back, but you know, you gotta make some sacrifices occasionally. But that was actually a risky attack for me to make. That was a 80% chance, but well, I took it anyway. So there you go. Let's hook that salt up. I think that salt would be an ideal thing to get. And let's give this guy... Let's give him pacification, so he's better at fighting slaves, since that is one of his main jobs in our kingdom. I could cottage up some more land. But I'll tell you what instead, is I'm going to build a road towards this dye, because we will want to get a city up here for those luxury resources sooner or later. And we've cancelled our peace deals with everyone, thanks to our gifts running out. Looks like the Vikings have actually... It seems, I saw this earlier, the Vikings managed to capture one of the Mongolian cities, and it looks like they're constantly sort of trading with the Mongolians over this this city in the centre of their empire. which is worrying. Hopefully that remains a stalemate, but it's always quite hard to tell unless you've got like accurate reports on another nation's movements. Let's just make our way to Code of Laws and just hope that nothing gets seriously out of hand. Got a slave revolt in Persepolis, let's go deal with that. Cool. Nothing too serious occurred there, which is good. Let's get these workers to build that quarry there. I'm probably going to send this... Oh, forest is cleared. I would rather chop that forest, so I will replant it. I'd like to keep the production if possible, or wherever possible. Let's get another cottage up there, and this worker... don't really need too much to be built in the south. We've got a lot of cottages over there already. I'll probably send him up north to help with this road network that we're planning. Let's get these resources prepared. Slaves in Carthage are rebelling. Let's get rid of those. It doesn't take a moment. And what would I like these workers to do? Probably come up here and get ready to work on that prime timber. Getting prime timber would actually boost our empire's production pretty solidly. And there's Code of Laws, so we can now start building courthouses, reducing our maintenance, and also working on getting some missionaries to spread Hinduism. It's all the good stuff. Let's grab city planning next. That will be good for going towards the water pump, which will allow us to get rid of all that jungle and have a few extra cities. I think this settler in the south is going to move up here, but I could also settle those horses, or get those horses under our control, which would be equally beneficial. I think over here we'd like to get... I actually want to put a archer on both these, or perhaps 3 archers, and just start building them to put them on these different tiles. I think after Carthage has built that temple, I'll get a couple of workers, settlers out there, really just focus on building our borders up. Now, if Hadramentum were to convert to Hinduism, I could build missionaries here quite quickly, because it can have one of our highest production amounts in our empire. So I'm going to build a missionary, just quickly get one out there, and see what we can do with that. Let's build a cottage on that grassland whilst we're waiting. In fact, that built pretty much instantly. And road up onto this desert hill. We're not going to use it straight away, but it will allow our armies to move around the Mongolian border a bit quicker. It is obviously a nice thing. More slave revolts. Let's deal with those. So yeah, this is one of the issues with slavery. Obviously, you get slave revolts, but on the plus side, in civilization, there is a plus side to slavery, unfortunately enough. But it does boost all of our production and such, as well as our food gain. So, whilst I would never actually advocate it, I can't deny the positive effects of it in this particular video game. That's just how it is. Anyway, before I draw the ire of a particular part of my audience, let's just quickly move on and just start building up our empire a bit further. Get rid of those revolting slaves. There's a lot of revolting slaves. And the Great Library has just been built in a faraway land. Something to keep an eye on is that some of the nice wonders are now getting chewed up by different nations. And we've built the city of Susa, which is good. So let's build a carpenter, and then a workboat, a slave market, and after that probably get a... I would like its borders to expand, but not necessarily very quickly. So let's get a granary, and then a library, and then a smokehouse, a well, a courthouse, maybe a caravanserai afterwards. We'll worry about that in a little bit. These guys have now moved and built that road there, but we can start getting the prime timber for the rest of our empire. You should see our production just jump up pretty significantly. And apparently the mission we sent or we built went immediately to Utica, which I'm not too bothered by. So let's get another missionary. And there's city planning, good stuff. Swapping over to civil service wouldn't be the worst idea, but we need to get some happiness saved up so we can actually swap out, because I'm using mob justice to keep a couple of our cities in the positive right now. As far as techs go, like I said, I would love to go towards water pump, but that will require tolls and taxes. Tolls and taxes is fine. That will help our economy overall, so I'm a-okay with that. Utica, I would definitely... Okay, let's come back to that. I'll get back onto my thought trail in a moment. The most advanced civilizations of the world. Sun Quan the Glorious of the South Chinese Empire. Pretty large nation as far as the rankings go. Gustav II is the Viking Empire. They're pretty high up there. We're at the bottom, which is not really a surprise playing on Emperor difficulty. That's just something that happens. You will get left behind. At least in the early game, you can sort of jump back as your empire grows, as long as you make sure you can grow it a bit faster than everyone else. So there is some woodsmen coming down here. These guys can be a pain, so there are a lot stronger barbarians now making their way into the game. If we can settle up these sort of western cities here, then we can push our borders to the east and focus our military efforts over there, just to keep the barbarians in check. As we build more cities, it will cost us more gold, but I think now we can start growing Persepolis again. We can definitely start growing Persepolis again. So swap back over to a complete food production, start growing that up as fast as possible. Utica, once it's built these things, will be able to grow up quite a lot as well. Carthage, once it's finished that Hindu temple, in fact, if I swap it over to growth, it can hit size 6 and then focus on other things instead. Let's get another growth on Hadrumentum. Whilst Hadrumentum is growing very slowly because there's sort of a lack of food resources at this point in time, it's still growing. It might even be worth building a hunter's camp, but I'm not too thrilled with that prospect. It'd be a bit of a waste of production. It's only a few turns, but still. They can just work on all these cottage tiles and they will eventually grow. It will take a very long time, but you know, they're going to be producing us a lot of commerce whilst they're doing it. And this city is quite safe as far as I'm aware, since the Mongolians have got other things to worry about, like the Vikings. Anyway, yep, that'll be the end of the episode. It's been me, Chaff Commander Coffee. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.